They're looking for us in the wrong place.
Do you remember the series Lost? Have you even seen it? I loved the first 2 seasons of Lost. I thought what J.J. Abrams and the team did there were incredible. Then, of course, they lost the plot, and we had in the middle there the writer's strike like we're having now. And you can find quotes of news articles or where they're speaking live. They said, yeah, no, the cast is definitely not blah, blah, blah. And then when you get to the end, just in case you haven't seen it still, and it is blah, 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 you know that was because of the writer's strike and they suddenly had to write it like they had no idea what to do anymore. That was disappointing. However, Pending Train has a similar premise. Let's jump in. Kayashima Naoya, a charismatic hairdresser who finds himself struggling to survive in extreme conditions when the train he is on winds up in a devastated future world where there is no food, water, or communication. Okay, first off, the special effects in this aren't great. It feels like a TV movie. There are 10 episodes, like hours long, and it's drawn out. It's very drawn out. You could have had 5 episodes and be done with this. It's the premise that probably will have you keep watching if you can get through all the angst. It's not necessarily teenage angst, it's just angst. There's a lot of drama. You will love to hate certain characters as each episode progresses. There's car 5 of the train and eventually something else. I don't want to do spoilers for you. And there are people that, you know, will create groups for themselves to survive. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of locations apart from the last couple of episodes on this. A lot of the time, it's a very enclosed storyline, mostly on the cars in the near surroundings of the train. And then there are a couple of excursions. Not until you get to the end do you see more about what the story is revealed and explained. Now, it does mostly explain everything that's happened. There are definitely answers that haven't been answered, so I wouldn't be surprised if this gets cancelled because of what's happening with the strikes and how drawn out this is. I think the reception has been good for a niche group of people that love this sort of drama. And I love my drama in series and Japanese series and Korean series, but there is a drawback to that. A lot of the time it is drawn out, and that is the biggest negativity of this. There's only so much backstory I need for people, so much who's gonna side with who or who's gonna fall in love with who. There are multiple relationships in here, and the acting for the most part is good, but because it feels like a TV movie, it's filmed with like hyper HD. It's one of those that everything is stock rather than you have shallow focus or feel like a cinema TV series. This feels like it is made for TV, which I guess it kind of is. It's just too stock. So you have that almost non-Hollywood. A lot of Japanese series have this type of style, the color palette, the way it's shown, the way it's acted, and you go into this kind of knowing what to expect. But because we have a train with an earthquake and this car ends up somewhere that we're not quite sure of, I won't do spoilers for you, then we get the, oh, what is it? Who done it? How do they escape this? How do they survive? And all of that is the really interesting part of this series. What are they going to do to survive? Who's got certain set of skills? Who's going to be the new leader? You see all of that established very quickly, and then you start answering those questions. But because it's so long-winded in the 10 episodes, I wouldn't be surprised if you teeter off. You forward a few of those conversations. You kind of want to know what's going to happen with that character or where the story is going to go. I wouldn't blame you at all because this is a very long-winded one. Like I said, you will love to hate some of the characters, but they're definitely your team that you're rooting for. When it comes to the sound effects, they don't seem to, the score sound effects, they don't seem to connect with the tenseness of the situation. At times it just feels out of place, which is weird. It's a weird, maybe it's a culture thing, but I just thought that was wrong for this particular series. So the positives are the acting, I think, is fairly good. I like the actors and they've done well with what they've been given within the dialogue. The dialogue is very drama heavy and very kind of giving us more than we need. The storyline is fine and has a nice premise to it, but again, they should have skipped a lot of it and maybe condensed it to the Netflix classic 6 instead of the 10. And even 6, I still think would have felt very drawn out. Fortunately, there are a few fragments of unanswered questions that we get at the end, but for the most part, you will be somewhat satisfied if this never comes around to having a second season. Good relationships are formed. You will care for some of them and hate the others. Worth the watch if you love this sort of drama but don't really mind your time being wasted in that regard. So let me know your thoughts down below. I'm going to give this 2.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one. Congratulations.
Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.